Hi there, Nigel Saunders here. Today we are venturing into the outdoors to work on some hardy trees. I'm going to begin the outdoor work by working on my Thuja occidentalis, or my Eastern White Cedar. I'm styling this tree in the Cathedral style, with all the vertical spires or branches pointing to the heavens. So the front of the tree is somewhere about here. And a lot of this foliage has gotten very long. I want to keep the tree fairly compact to the trunk and all the branches going vertical with just little branches coming off those vertical ones to kind of get that cathedral style. When I collected this tree, it had been cut down from a taller tree. It was in a pathway. And so all the branches have kind of regrown from that stump that was left over. So I've got kind of two vertical leaders now. And I want them going straight up, that cathedral style. I've got a thicker one off to this side and a thinner one on this side. To keep them going straight, I may have to do some pruning, because if you see this one, I've got a vertical kind of shoot that continues that vertical line, and then I have one off to the side that's quite thicker. So I could prune this one off to get more taper, keep my vertical lines on this cathedral top going. And I may have to do the same for the other one. It's starting to lean over a bit. I may be able to replace the apex with a more vertical shoot. So I'll start on this one, and I will do that. I'll prune off this one that's off on an angle. That'll get my tree a little shorter. I'll get more taper in those trunks, and it'll allow room to grow in the future up nice and vertical. All right, so here's the branches I'm talking about. So I've got a vertical one here, and I can prune off this one that kind of goes off to the side. So here I go. This is a fairly major cut. Here I go. Like that. I'm going to mark the front of the tree. I'll just put a stone here. Get the exact front. I would say right about there. Here's a look at the front of the tree. So you can see that branch I pruned off was right here. I've got a new leader coming up here, maybe another one here. So I'm going to look at the main trunk line now. So it's kind of splitting off into two here. It comes up vertical and then it comes up to a fork. There's nothing really going absolutely vertical. I do have a lot of branches coming out the front of the tree that's kind of blocking your view of the main structure. I may have to do a lot of thinning in that area. So I think this will be the main trunk line, and I'll just have to prune it as vertical as I can, keeping, you know, the most vertical line to the apex of the tree. All right, I'm going to prune up that trunk line now. Yeah, I may have to rotate the front slightly just to get a more vertical trunk line. And I've got a branch coming out the front here, a couple of them. If I have the front over here, they'll be pointing straight at the viewer. So I guess I gotta rotate it a bit off. So I'll move my front of the tree just slightly off to here. And I'm still looking for vertical trunk lines. Yeah, there is, where the trunk divides here from 1 to 2, I could use this back one as the leader and remove this section, which is kind of straight without any foliage. And it would leave a scar, but I've had ones there before and they heal over quite nicely. So I'm thinking maybe of doing that. It would get my height, the height of the tree down a bit. I've got lots of branching on this back branch, and it gives me room to develop the apex up even higher then. This one's just kind of long and straight, and it kind of goes off on an angle. So I think I'll do that. I'm going to remove that one trunk here. I'll show you that junction a little more closely. So the front of the tree would be about here. And there's that junction in there. So I have one going to the back and one coming to the front. The one coming to the front is kind of thick and straight without any taper, and it goes off on an angle. The one at the back is more vertical, but it kind of goes away from the viewer a bit. But I think A lot of times in these cedars, branches straighten up too. I think I'm going to prune to that back branch, so I'm going to take this whole top off the tree here. And I think that'll make a better tree in the end. So, let's get to it. All right, here I go. This is a big step. I can see I've pruned off some thick branches there before too. All right, here I go. I'm going to try and make a fairly flush cut. One, two, three, done. Boy, oh boy, that's a big branch. Now, these can root as cuttings. I cut them off flat at the base here, stick them in soil, and sometimes they root, sometimes they don't. You're looking at the front view now, and I've got, this is my new apex for this branch or trunk, and again, it goes off to the side. I want to prune it back to make the tree more compact. So I'm looking for my most vertical trunk lines, which is either this branch or this one, and I think this one's the better one. So it's going to get pruned off the apex here. Here I go, just like that. The thicker of the cathedral style branches is being pruned back to here. So now my other one seems a little tall, so I may have to reduce that back also. I'm just looking for something suitable here. Well, I can't take too much off. I can take this off here, like that. There's not really a lot of other good vertical branches here. I could develop this one. I think that's probably the best one, and maybe take this section off. Yeah, I'm going to do that. So here I go. I'll take an angular cut here. Just taking that top piece off. Kind of reduces this down a bit, and this will grow more vigorously, so the balance will be restored. Now, I've got a lot of cleanup to do here. It's really grown last year. So I've got to get all my branches more compact. Otherwise it looks like a big, sprawling, deciduous tree. I want to keep the tree fairly compact. All right, so here goes the pruning. So I've got to get back to my front here. And I'm looking for, there's a branch growing on the inside here I can remove. Where does it come from? Way over here. Get rid of that. Like that. Take that out. This cleans up this area. I've got a branch coming out the front here that's very long. I'll prune it back. Prune this one back. There's a shoot going towards the inside here. I can remove that. Or branch. I've got a hanging branch from way up here. I don't want any hanging branches that are kind of going straight down, so I'm going to take that off. There's one growing to the inside here. I'll take that one off. So you can see this is cleaning up my trunk line a lot, so you can see the structure a little more. I'm also trying to bring it in more compact. There's a branch here I can reduce back. One growing towards the inside here I can remove. Another one on the inside here I can remove. One here. Now, I've got there's a cathedral branch here, and the top of it's kind of sprawling off on an angle. So I'm looking to see if there's anything more vertical coming off that branch. There is one at the back. I'm going to prune this back here. There's a long shoot here I can prune back. Prune these back. Just getting these branches more compact. I may come in and reduce them back even further later on. It's kind of got that branch pruned up though. Now I'll deal with this vertical one here. There's another cathedral branch here, it comes up and curves skyward. So I've got to get the trunk line established for that. I'll prune back some of these longer branches. It is so nice out today, it's unbelievable. 6 degrees Celsius. Fantastic. Oh, there's a branch coming up from here. Crosses everything. I don't think I want that. I'm going to remove it. Like that. There's no point having these cathedral branches if you can't see them swooping upwards. I've got a thick branch off to this side here too. I think I'm going to remove that totally. Like that. Keeping this vertical part. Always lots of tough decisions on these trees. Just prune this branch back. Okay, let's keep going here. Got a branch coming off here. Boy, oh boy. It's getting quite vigorous out the side here. Very interesting branch. I'm going to take most of it off, this part, and prune this part back to here. Trying to get it to grow more vertical. Take the branches back here. I'm pruning back to nice foliage, good healthy foliage. I don't want to prune back to weak growth too far back or you kill off the branch. I've got a nice cathedral branch here. I'm just going to prune off this kind of long side branch or reduce it back like that. Now I've got quite a thick kind of horizontal branch coming off of my main leader here. I'm not sure I want that. It's not the worst branch in the world, but it is quite thick and it's quite long. I could reduce it back to this shoot, which I think I will. Yeah. Make it a little more compact, especially the apex. I don't want it sprawling at the apex, so this one is going to come back to here. Here I go, like that. I guess that'll become a cathedral branch because it wants to go vertical, which is good. There is another branch in the way here that is also kind of going vertical. One on top of each other. I got to decide which one I want to keep. Tough decision. I got 3 branches in a row, all kind of coming out. They're in a line, a vertical line, and they're all kind of coming out. I've got this one is developing into a cathedral branch. This one too, and I guess this one is too. Huh. I guess logically this lowest branch kind of crosses the one behind it. This one is a little slimmer and it's going quite nicely vertical. I could prune that thicker one off. It would look pretty good. All right, I'm going to remove it. That thicker one's got to come off. It's a nice branch, but it's just not in the right place. So I'll come in here and prune it off. So here I go. Like that. Done. And I think that looks better too. Yes. Cleans that area up a lot if you look at it from the front view. Much nicer. Now there's a branch crossing here that I'll remove. I don't want that one. Kind of crossing my trunk line. Let's go back to the front here. Yeah, that's helping that. It's cleaned that up a lot. Now in this area I've got 2, maybe 3 branches again, all one above each other, coming from one spot. I'll show you that up close. So in here, if you look in here, I've got 1, 2, 3, almost like ladder branches, one above the other. Doesn't look so good. I got to clean that area up, probably keeping that vertical one, maybe removing those 2 more horizontal ones. So that's my dilemma. I'll have a look from the front and kind of try and decide what looks the best. Well, the one is just a dead stump. I can remove that one. I'm not after dead wood yet. And then I've got two, one above the other. This one has some vertical growth. The bottom one just kind of comes out horizontal. So it's going to be the bottom one that gets removed. I'll come in with my branch pruners. All right, yeah, the bottom one's going to be removed. So here I go. That's like that. Quite a big branch. So back to the front now. That's what I'm left with. Certainly cleared that area up. I've got a lot of branches on top of each other here. I've got to do some sorting in that area. I think I'll take this one off that's coming out towards the front here. Like that. It gets rid of one of them. And then I still have two, one above each other here. Which one do I keep? I think I'm going to remove the top one. Like that. Making it more compact. Looking better, I think. Yeah, the tree's getting more upright. It's slimmer, it's not so wide and spreading. You can see the structure of it nicely. Ah, it feels like spring out. It's fantastic today. I know it's going to get colder again, but this one day just feels like spring. Well, that is looking much better. There's the front view of the tree. It's looking more like a tree now. I do have this one shoot that's quite tall at the back here. That needs to be reduced for sure. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to prune this tall part off like that. This will be my new apex, so I'll prune this part off. And that's got it reduced down in height. It's not perfectly straight, but it has a bit of a zigzag, but that'll straighten out over the years. It'll kind of smooth out and become quite natural looking. Here's a look at the tree now. It's looking very upright. It's getting that cathedral look in a lot of places. Compared to when I first dug this tree up, it had all these long, thick, horizontal branches, and it was, someone had sawed it off here, and it didn't have a lot of potential at first, but it's starting to get there. It's starting to look like an old, mature tree. Still has a lot of work to go, though. But that's kind of where we're at. I'll really look forward to it growing in spring, and yeah, it'll get a lot of character to it, I think. Some of these older bark plates will have to come off. They're starting to get too large and thick looking. I want the bark to look miniature, so a tree that's slow grown gets little miniature plates of bark on it. And this is the initial bark from when it was grown in the ground, and it's fairly coarse looking, but that'll refine over the years. I did a lot of root pruning to this tree, a lot. I have the root bases pretty well sorted out. I can keep refining it, but I did most of the structural work on the root base. So it has a fairly nice radial root system on the tree now. It's just a matter of it all healing. All those cuts I made have to heal over, and then we can start exposing the roots a little more. But yeah, it's going to look quite good, I think, the root system in the future. It was a little risky what I did, but I think in the end it'll pay off. The tree did live, so that's one good thing. The next step will be just to let the tree grow once again. With all the roots sorted out and in a nice radial pattern and balanced, you'll start to see a lot of fluting on the trunk. You can see it now that there are these live veins growing up the trunk, and that'll increase in the future as these roots develop and thicken. And I'll get all these live veins coming up the trunk, and it should have a really nice base to the tree eventually. There may be some areas that, you know, this will probably die off, this part of the living vein, because I pruned a root here, but it'll eventually recover and you'll get all this nice fluting on the trunk. I'm looking forward to seeing this tree in the years ahead. It was so nice getting outside on this beautiful day today, pruning up my Thuja occidentalis into the cathedral style form. But that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.